Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ayur-Nutrition consultations, which is a service of Parinama Yoga Online. Thank you so much for giving me the honor and the privilege of serving you with Ayurveda, which is the ancient life science coming from India. In this topic, we're going to discuss Ayurveda, the doshas, how to create vibrant health, and a state of inner calmness. And isn't that what we're all looking for? In general, no matter what our other goals may be, we're looking for vibrant health and a sense of calmness, a sense of peacefulness within us, so that whatever we want to accomplish in our lives, we can do. But without health and without a sense of calmness or a clear mind, we can't get much done in life. We can't do the things we enjoy. We can't do the work that we need to earn a living. We can't keep a house. We can't love the people we love if we're not healthy and if we're not clear-minded. So let's explore a little bit about Ayurveda. This wisdom comes from the Vedas, and the Vedas are ancient wisdom of India. And there are four traditional Vedas: the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. The Rig Veda compiles hymns to the ancient deities of India. Yajur Veda lists rituals, and they're described such as yagyas and homas. Sama Veda is a compilation of hymns, and Atharva Veda is again many hymns, some of which are in common or similar to, or even the same as ones found in Rig Veda. And it contains magical formulas, such as in divine theurgy. And there are some religious medical speculation passages found within Atharva Veda. And what is often known as the fifth Veda is Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is the life science, which is a life-affirming science from ancient India, from the sages, said to come from Vishnu himself in his form of Dhanvantari. And Ayurveda is not just a medical science, though it is. It might be considered complementary medicine in the West, but also it's a method of creating balance in your body, your mind, and your heart for the purpose of spiritual growth. So it's a very holistic program that addresses body, mind, emotions, in that spiritual part of ourselves, whatever we want to call that by. So Ayurveda is often considered the fifth Veda, which has voluminous medical, health, and spiritual knowledge within it. One thing that most people know when they come for an Ayurveda consultation is about the doshas. They know about the different constitutions that are evident or surface level in Ayurveda. So when we look off to the right, we see the three main doshas. Vata dosha is a constitution, a mind-body constitution, which is made up of the elements of air and ether. And then kapha is the constitution made up of both earth and water. And finally, we have pitta, which is made up of the elements of water and fire. And often simplifying it more because of the gross characteristics that kind of shape who we are. Vata is often referred to as the air element, simplified down to air. Kapha is earth, and pitta is fire. But again, to be precise, Vata is both air and ether elements. Kapha is both earth and water, and pitta is both water and fire. Dosha actually means fault. Whenever you take your Ayurvedic consultation with me, the first thing that I do is I email you documents that help me to identify what your constitution is. And within everybody, every person has Vata, Kapha, and Pitta in them. Everybody has all three doshas. But one tends to stand out more and is accentuated. And that one dosha that is accentuated tends to be the one that throws you off balance, that tends to cause different kinds of symptoms or issues within the body or mind that we need to treat through nutrition, through self-care rituals, through herbal remedies, etc. And when one of these doshas is out of whack, so to speak, or it is aggravated, however you want to think of it, then it becomes a fault because it creates the discomfort in the body, the mind, the emotions. So the Sanskrit word dosha means fault. If the doshas are not balanced in the spiritual matrix of body, mind, and spirit of a human, then faults, disorders, and diseases begin to manifest. So some people are kapha, some are pitta, some are vata, and many people like myself are combinations of one or more of these. I am pitta kapha myself. So it's possible to be a pitta kapha, a pitta vata, etc., any combination of these three. And it is possible, though it's rare, to be tridoshic, meaning that a person is equally pitta vata kapha. But that's very rare, and in life, it tends to not stay balanced. Something goes out of balance due to our lifestyle. So our job, the job of an Ayurvedic consultant, is to talk with you and gather information and to find out first and foremost which dosha you are. And that is a baseline for understanding where to go in a consultation. What is your dosha? It's kind of like saying, what is your sign in astrology? A lot of people in the yoga world kind of know what their dosha is, but they oversimplify it. They might say, oh, I'm a pitta, or I'm a kapha, or oh, I'm a pitta vata. But it's more than that. So knowing your dosha, it is important, especially when you do Ayurvedic treatments or consultations, but it's so much more than that. We fill out two forms at the beginning of our consultations. Prakriti, which tries to determine what we were given at birth. From our earliest memory, what were the qualities of our body, our mind, our constitution? That original prakriti of our body is what we want to try to work back towards. And then you fill out a second form called Vikriti, which examines how things are today. You're coming to me with allergies or indigestion or whatever it is, insomnia. I'm going to ask you to fill out a Vikriti form so I can find out a lot of things about your life and the energetics that are going into the present moment. So I can figure out what is throwing you off balance so I can create a plan that will help you to bring back ease and comfort to your being. So all doshas are manifest within every human, and they're constantly moving within and around us in nature. And they influence us for better or for worse. They can help us to move towards greater health and balance, or they can begin to aggravate our constitution and cause illness, discomfort, even serious disease if symptoms aren't treated right away. What I would like to stress, if you get nothing more from this video, is that when you are a beginner, a student of Ayurveda, a client of Ayurveda, however you want to think of yourself, in the beginning, it is much more important to notice the fluctuation, flow, and rhythmic movement of the doshas in your life. This is the development of profound awareness, and it is a kind of moving meditation. We want to be aware whenever a dosha is becoming more pronounced in our day, in our week, this month, this year. What is influencing me? And is it influencing me for better or for worse? If it's for better, that's great. We don't need to do anything about it. We just keep on doing what we're doing. But most of us would not seek an Ayurvedic consultation if a particular dosha had not made us not feel well, did not make us seek wellness. So we want to start right off from the beginning and beginning to identify which dosha is becoming pronounced, is becoming aggravated, is becoming deficient, those kind of things. And you'll learn how to do that through this playlist. So let's discuss each of the doshas individually to get a better idea of what they are. So kapha, again, is made up of the elements of earth and water. The qualities of kapha are heavy, slow, cool, oily, smooth, dense, soft, stable, gross, cloudy. The season of kapha, the season in which kapha often goes out of whack for all of us, is late winter through spring, especially early spring, not whenever it's right on the cusp of becoming summer. But late winter, when the snow begins to melt and you get muddy ground that looks like this on the right, or spring whenever it's raining, depending on the geographical area that you live in, rain or water or melted snow tends to make a thick ground. And the muddy feet that you see stuck in the earth here is very representative of kapha. It's a great imagery to remember because this is what our digestion can become like in late winter to spring. It becomes sluggish, heavy, slow. We feel cold in the winter or after we get caught in a rainstorm. So very much what can throw off our kapha energy and exacerbate it to the point where it becomes difficult is whenever we get cold and when we get wet in these particular seasons. And that's when we start to get mucousy, head colds, congestion, the flu, etc. This is often caused by distortions in kapha. The time of day for kapha is 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So what does this tell us? It tells us a lot about when we should wake up and when we should go to bed. So we should be in bed before 10 p.m. because the time period for kapha, when you start to wind down and relax, because kapha is also about nurturance on a positive side. It's about deep relaxation. And kapha can be a very healing dosha when it's used in the sense of healing and not in the sense of distortion or dis-ease. But you want to go to bed between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. every night. So you should have your dinner before 6 p.m. and be doing your self-care rituals for the evening that you've been recommended sometime between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. And well before 10 p.m., you should have lights out and you should be asleep because after 10 p.m., we go into a different energetic cycle. We go into pitta, in which you get fired up again and you tend to get a second wind and then you can't fall asleep. Also, we want to be up in the morning, preferably before the sun. So we should be up before 6 a.m. because if you're not up by 6 a.m., you tend to get groggy and stay in bed longer because from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., it's ruled by kapha, which rules heaviness, slowed downness, sleepiness, drowsiness. These are all elements or qualities of kapha. Every age period that we go through in our life, or every period of life, we can say, that has a certain age range is ruled by a dosha. And the age from birth until about the age of 30 is ruled by kapha. And this is tendently when our body tissues are growing, we're developing, we're maturing, we're going through puberty. Kapha rules growth. It's anabolic, meaning that it grows tissues, it grows muscles, it grows systems, etc. So a description of kapha is we can recognize kapha dosha as part of us that connects to our most nurturing qualities. It also is associated with compassion, empathy, steadiness, a stable person, somebody you can depend on. These are all positive kapha qualities. Somebody that you look at and you just want to hug because for you, they epitomize love and understanding. These are all kapha elements. When kapha is distorted, it tends to bring about depression, always sleepy, slow, obesity, hormonal issues can start to become a problem. These are all some issues of kapha, but it's not limited to just those items. And again, kapha is anabolic, which means it builds up tissues. Next, we have pitta, and pitta is made up of the elements of fire and water. The qualities of pitta are light, sharp, hot, oily, liquid, spreading, subtle. So whenever pitta is in good shape, then all of our body fluids like blood and hormones, which are ruled by pitta, they're in balance and they're healthy and they're creating radiant health throughout our whole body. Spreading, pitta also rules like the body temperature, maintaining a healthy body temperature. And whenever you touch somebody's hands and they're warm, people always touch my hands and like, oh my God, your hands are so warm. That's because pitta is definitely dominant in my constitution. So having a warm body, always feeling warm, even whenever it's cold outside, your hands are warm, even in the winter. That spreading warmth is a quality of pitta. Hot. Hot can mean a lot of things. Number one, heat can throw us out of balance. In the summer, when it gets too hot outside, pitta people will get crabby and cranky. And also, the downfall of a pitta person is that we tend to get angry or frustrated too easily if we're not aware of that. Pitta can have oily hair, oily skin, and sharp is also in relationship to emotions. Pitta people tend to be competitive, and if they don't, they tend to be very motivated, organized, go-getters. They're detail-oriented. Their life will be very organized. Every minute will be very organized. They have a goal and they go to get it. So that is very much a pitta person, a pitta personality. And that attitude, whenever it's thwarted or whenever the pitta person feels that it's thwarted, they have a very sharp response, whether towards themselves or others in their orbit, if they don't have balanced pitta. Pitta also rules the intellect. It rules intuition. So there's many good things about pitta also. The season of pitta is summer, which is hot, when the sun is hottest in the sky. The sun is a big fiery ball of gases and everything else that it might be contained therein. The time of day of pitta is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So again, we want to be in bed before 10 p.m. We want to already be asleep, because once 10 p.m. hits, then we start to get fired up and we might get a second wind, and it could take us some time to fall asleep. So this is a problem with some people that don't necessarily have insomnia, but they have a hard time just getting to sleep. You want to make sure that all of your electronics are off at least by 8 p.m. You're not watching TV, you're not on Facebook, you're not clicking on WhatsApp or whatever else you're doing, but you already have that screen turned off. Maybe you're reading something spiritual, maybe you do a light meditation or something like that, or you do a little bit of self-massage or light some essential oil in your room to relax the atmosphere, light a candle, so that you have this deepening of the senses, deepening of consciousness. But by 10 p.m., if you're not already asleep, you're probably going to wake up again and have a hard time going to bed. So sometimes fixing our sleep pattern is just turning off everything by 8 p.m., laying down, relaxing, maybe meditating, doing some self-massage or deep relaxation things that are in your self-care rituals that are recommended to you. From 10 a.m. to noon is when you want to eat your largest meal, no matter what dosha you are, because from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., that's when our Agni, our digestive fire, is stoked and at its highest. So you want to eat your largest meal between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And again, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., whenever our fire is high, that is when you want to do exercise. Whatever movement program has been recommended to you, that's the time of day to do that. The pitta time of life is from 30 to 60, and that's generally when people are out in the workforce, raising a family. They are motivated to get something done, whether it's raising money to support their lifestyle or their family, or raising a family, or doing whatever it is that they do. The age of 30 to 60 is the go-getter stage. So a description of pitta, we may recognize pitta dosha within ourselves as the parts of ourselves that feel passionate, organized, motivated, driven, that it's the part of us that wants to accomplish something, whether it's material or spiritual. That is pitta. And pitta rules the metabolic function. It's in charge of digestion. And that digestive fire in Sanskrit in Ayurveda is called Agni. Finally, we come to Vata. Vata is made up of the elements of air and ether. The qualities of Vata are light, cold. Notice it's cold. Kapha is cool. Vata is cold. Their hands feel cold. Their body temperature is always cold. They always need 5 more blankets in their body. They need a coat or a sweater, even whenever it's not particularly cold outside. So it's always cold. Dry. Vata people tend to have dry hair, dry skin, dry nails, things like that. Rough. Like dry skin becomes rough. Subtle. Mobile. Clear. So when Vata is balanced, we have very clear minds. Very clear minds that actually are very creative and have a very active imagination. Subtle. It's a subtle mind. Vata, when balanced, are very good meditators. When imbalanced, thoughts are racing, emotions are changing. Especially fear and anxiety happens when Vata is deranged or aggravated, etc. Light. Vata people are light in their bodies. They're light in their attitude. They can easily switch directions. They're not stuck in their ways, but they're very light and they're adaptable. Vata is the only dosha that's mobile. It's what moves things. It's in charge of our breath. It's in charge of moving food through our system so that it can be digested by Pitta. And then Vata is in charge of elimination when we go to the bathroom. Number 1 and number 2, urine and excrement. So if Vata is imbalanced, then we tend to become constipated, etc. Whereas if Pitta is imbalanced, there can be loose stool, diarrhea, etc. So time of day for Vata is 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So if you can get up at 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., this is one of the best times to meditate, to start your day. Great yogis of all times have always observed Brahma Muhurta, which is the period from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. for meditation and spiritual practices. It's a time of day when the mind can be very clear, the body can be very light for asana, etc. And 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is also a Vata period of day. It's a time when the mind can get stuff done, especially if you have an office job, etc. The time of life of Vata is 60 years and beyond, which is kind of when people tend to begin to leave the workforce and begin retirement. It's a time when we start focusing more inwardly, which is also the season is from fall through early winter, when all of nature turns inward. All of the vitality in the plants come inward. The leaves and the trees become orange and brown and fall beautifully under the ground because all the life force, the energy goes inward. And likewise, 60 and beyond is when we should start, if we haven't already, we should really be focusing on turning our attention inward on the meditative path. Because we're past the age of raising families. Hopefully, we're moving towards retirement from the workforce where we have time to do the things we want to do, where we have time to enjoy life, to explore who we really are, and to explore our spirituality in a more profound and fulfilling way. A description of Vata is that Vata manifests within us as creativity. Great artists, musicians, painters, artists of all types have Vata predominant often in their dosha. Having a sense of adventure, wanting to move around, wanting to travel, the ability to be spontaneous and adaptable in situations. And when we use our imagination, these are all times when Vata is predominating. Again, negative aspects of Vata are fear, anxiety, different disorders like attention deficit disorder or ADHD, any kind of thing where your mind is racing, you can't focus, too much is going through your mind, stress, a sense of overwhelm are all symptoms of Vata that's imbalanced. Indigestion, constipation, Arthritic pain, whenever there's pain in the joints, that tends to be a vata issue, etc. So these are all different ideas about vata, basic beginning understandings. Vata rules the catabolic function, which breaks down and expels things from your body. So it's in charge of taking broken down food and expelling the waste from the body in the form of excrement and urine. Also, as we get older, our muscles tend to break down, become smaller if they're not used and exercised properly. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So vata starts to break down things that we don't use. So our digestion becomes poor if we don't feed ourselves well and do things to feed the digestive fire. Our muscles start to break down if we don't exercise. Our joints become stiff if we don't do yoga. Our minds become relatively stagnant if we don't continue to learn throughout our whole lives. Then our mind's ability to perceive and learn may slow down. So this is all ideas of the catabolic function of vata. So the doshas govern how we should behave to create a balanced internal environment. Again, I want you to review this video and note, when should I sleep? When should I eat? When is the best time to do exercise or hatha yoga? When is the best time to study, especially spiritual material? How do the seasons affect the doshas in my body? How do we heal, balance, and strengthen the doshas? We heal by giving the opposite effect. For example, we'll just use vata as an example to save the time, because we talk about this in each individual Ayurvedic plan for each of my clients. But one of the issues that vata people face is being cold. So you want to do the opposite to balance vata. You would heat vata. You would tell them to wear warm clothes, to cover their head before they go outside, to drink ginger tea, perhaps, because ginger is a heating herb that also creates greater blood circulation throughout the body. You would ask them to eat different foods that may be salty, because salt increases the heat of the body. So whatever it is that's happening, you want to do the opposite effect. Pitta is hot, so I want to cool down the body for pitta. So if I'm in the summertime and I'm pitta and I'm overheated, I'm going to want to eat light meals. Perhaps I'd want to eat a salad instead of a bowl of chili to lower my body temperature. So if I'm feeling sluggish and I'm a kapha person, I'm feeling slow and heavy, like I don't want to get up, then I need to wake up a little bit earlier, maybe have a cup of coffee. Yes, I'm all about cups of coffee. I don't believe in getting rid of that. And then I don't believe in that at all. I love coffee. And go to the gym. Go for a walk. Do what you need to do. So that's the idea of what we're doing here. How do we relate to others? For example, if my wife is a kapha person, she wants to go slow. She wants to meander down the street, look at the trees, enjoy life, let everything fill the senses, etc. And as a pitta, I want to move. Okay, let's get to the next thing. I have this to do. So if we understand or can infer what the dominant doshas are in the people that we interact with, especially our loved ones, then we can learn to relate to them better with some compassion, some empathy. So understanding the doshas within ourselves and others can make life so much better and happier. The doshas teach us much more than mere physical health. They govern our spiritual rhythm and the types of sadhana or universal spiritual themes we should focus on. It is about mental and spiritual health. It's about establishing harmony. And it teaches us to fall in love with Mother Nature again. Because what is it that brings us into balance? Two major components are the food we eat, because food is medicine that comes from the earth. And then also, if we need to eradicate symptoms that are disturbing us, we often use herbal preparations. Herbs come from the earth. So we literally take something with gratitude from the earth to establish harmony in our bodies. It's a love relationship. We need to fall in love with Mother Nature again. Finally, I'd like to encourage everybody to journal and reflect for the period of your consultation. Of course, you'll want to journal about how the herbs make you feel. What sensations do I feel in my body, good, bad, or neutral, whenever I'm taking an herbal preparation, whenever I eat this kind of food, when I exercise at this time of day, etc. For your self-rituals, your self-care rituals, your food plan, your herbal plan, your exercise plan, all the stuff that's in your Ayurvedic plan, how does it make you feel? What works for me? What doesn't work for me? Because what works, you keep. What doesn't work, you leave behind. Everything is not for everyone. And throughout the time of your consultation, and hopefully throughout the rest of your life, spend at least 5 to 15 minutes a day, either in nature or observing nature. Notice where and when the qualities of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha come up in the natural environments. So notice where and when these qualities come up, and journal for at least 5 minutes in your experience, witnessing and experiencing these qualities in nature and in yourself. You can also set alarms on your cell phone, have a little ringer go off, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. You pick the times. And then when those alarms go off, just check in and see which dosha is predominating right now. Am I feeling sleepy? It's the middle of the workday, but I can't keep my eyes open. Kapha. Am I feeling competitive, even aggressive? Pitta. Is my mind just wandering everywhere and I can't focus? Vata. Am I feeling like there's indigestion, like the sense that I'm constipated, I'm stuck? Vata. Am I experiencing acid reflux or heartburn after a meal? Pitta. Am I just kind of overeating and filling myself up, and I just don't have a sense of being full, and I want to balance my emotions, particularly depression, with food? Kapha. So you want to start observing both the good and bad influences of the doshas in your life. Thank you so much for giving me the privilege once more of working with you with Ayurveda. This is one of the great joys of my life. I look forward to working with you and helping you to find radiant energy, health, and happiness, and apply that to whatever makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.